Hello guys and girls, and welcome to the next video tutorial in the introduction series for the DevTut intro. This is the second part, as I just said. In the last part we went through Sound Booth and Illustrator. I showed you the sounds we'll be using, the music, how to sort of like editing it, and also marking out where each of the parts of the text is going to go. Then we went into Illustrator and did the text. Now we've done the text and we exported it as a Illustrator file version 8, and we're just going to merge that into this Cinema 4D document I've got here. So this is literally just a new Cinema 4D document. I haven't touched it at all, I've just opened the program literally. So if we go to up here to File, Merge, navigate to your file, and it's just here, DevTut teaser. Open it up, scale, and connect splines rather, and go OK. Oops. So here you can see we've got all the different bits of text. Now we don't want every single one of these words in this one file, because we're going to be making multiple files, and they're going to be for each sort of word. So I've got down here that the first word that we're going to do, or words, is the DevTut present. So I'm going to find out where the end of that is and just delete all the other selections by holding down Shift and clicking on the first and last one I want to select. Now I've deleted that, and I want to put the rotation cursor in the center of the text. I'm just going to select that and select this tool here. Don't know what the tool's called, I've never known the names of the tools in this program. Just zoom in so you can sort of vaguely see half the midpoint, and drag the rotation point into it. Now we go back to the top one, which is for object selection, and here we're going to put in values 0, 0, and 0. So they should all be 0, and just hit apply. So as you can see, it's now made its way into the middle. As you can see, it's middle, 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 middle. And I'm just going to navigate over to here. Now before I go any further, I'm going to set up my render settings. I know that seems like the last thing you would do, but no, it is not. So in the general options, I'm going to have full render selected, and the output is going to be 720p. So here we're going to put in 1280, 720. Resolution is 72, and that's DPI we're scaling in. The aspect is HDTV, which is 16:9, which is 1.778 and 1. The frame rate is 30, and if we go frame range to all frames, and then in the save section we're going to navigate to our where we want to save it to, call it what we've got. DevTut presents.mov. I would like to replace it, as I've already done like a few tests and got the same names and everything. Go to Format and go down to QuickTime Movie, and you can leave the rest the same. Just hit the alpha channel and untick the box for including sound. Now we can close this and move on to the next part, which is setting up the frames and animation, all that sort of thing. Now this is the longest one, and it's going to be 4.5 seconds. So now if we've got 30 frames per second, just for ease of access and to make sure I don't get anything wrong for you guys, I'm just going to get the calculator out and drag it over to here. So we've got 30 frames per second, and we're going to have 4.5 seconds, so we want 135 frames. So put that in put the number of frames you want in there, and drag this out so you can see all the frames on your timeline here. Now, Now we're going to want to extrude this text. Now to do that, we come up to the top here, where there's little green boxes with the wireframe outside of it. Click and hold, and release on extrude NURBS. Now, click and drag our DevTut layers here, drag it on top of it. Click on it and go down to hierarchical check. Now I'm going to want to extrude that on the Z axis 10, and let's rotate, make sure it looks about right. That looks about right, I reckon. Nice. Right, now I'm going to go to the cap section, caps and rounding. So I'm going to want to choose a fillet cap, and the radius is going to be 1.5. Also going to do this on the end, exactly the same, 1.5. So it looks identical, sort of back to front sort of thing. And then I'm going to put in a camera by going up to the top, where this sort of white circle with the arrows coming out of it are. Click and hold again and release on camera. Now, because I love it, I'm going to come down to the field of view, and basically I'm just going to click on these and drag it out. Just, it should be 55. That's the field of view for this camera. 55 degrees. And then we're going to animate it. So, the first sort of animation we want is we want this text to come in some sort of like looking as if it's coming from behind us. So to create that sort of illusion, as it were, what we're going to do is we're going to animate the camera. So if we go into a 3D view, top-down view rather, we're going to animate the camera so it starts off just here, just beyond the text, and comes out and ends up about there. So just move that to the middle. Comes out to about there. So if we just hit this little box up here so we see what this camera's seeing. And then we're going to want to move into that position, so I'm just going to click and drag us forward. Also I want a little bit further down than that, so I'm going to drag us down, make sure I'm sort of there. I also want this to rotate a bit, so come down to here, about -5 I reckon. Maybe just a tiny little bit more, -7. Yeah. So, all these odd values are going to hit 0 to there to get it into the middle. 22, 48. These are just so they're easier to remember numbers, 0, 0, so they're in line and in the right perspective as well. So the only actual axis we're going to be editing here is the Z axis, as we're going to be coming out. We're also going to be using this rotation here. So we're going to want to come up to about here and hold down Control and just click on the circle where you want to keyframe. Didn't want to keyframe all of those, but that's okay because it's fine. Come up to about frame. So if we want it to be 4.5, 7.5. Hold on, I've got a little bit of working out to do. I'll be back in a sec. Right, sorry, now we're going to need to edit this a bit. I've just made a calculation a little bit wrong. The animation is going to have to be another 30 odd frames. Just double check that it is actually 30 frames per second, otherwise we'd make another mistake. So frame rate 30, yep, that's all good. So add another 30 frames. and frame 135 will be where we want to animate it to, so that's where we finally see this. And I want it to fill this screen here. And rotate it. Click on here. Set that back to 0. Just animate and just set keyframes on them too. So, bang. So if we just play that, you can see that's fine. Alright, but it's a little bit boring. I think we should liven that up a bit. So if we just make that so ever so slightly sort of work its way back a little bit more and enter another keyframe. So over that period of time, so it'll look like this. Bang. It'll keep going, just very, very slightly. Almost unnoticeable. So now, if we come up to frame 130, actually, where can we see the text? 128, 130 rather, we should go for. It's a little bit more of a better number to go for. We're going to want to animate these words, or each of these letters we going to want to be animating. So, I'll end this tutorial here as it's becoming quite long, and then we'll move on to the next part. So, I'll see you in the next part. Don't forget to rate, comment and subscribe. Thank you very much. Goodbye. See you in the next tutorial.